All right, welcome back. We're gonna now work on the tail group assembly. So we got your tail shaft. We're gonna get our spindle installed with our, put some grease on here and then put our O-ring dampeners in, and then yeah, we'll build this up. Okay, so this is bag for page 22, and we'll start with the first bag. I'm also gonna have a new tray here for my Loctite, and this step does require some green, so we're gonna have that ready as well. Okay, I'm gonna work with a little bit of grease, so I'm putting some gloves back on. All right, start with one side, get a little bit of grease on there, push the O-ring into that. Okay, O-ring. Okay, once I do all this, I'm going to clean it up a little, and also I'm going to clean the hole for the spindle. Okay. All right, get the O-ring on the other side. Okay, so same thing as I did for the head. I'm going to build up the stack of bearings. So one of the first things you need to do is just get the right, here we go, we'll get the right O-rings on here. So you have a bigger O-ring and then you have a shim, and it looks like we're going to be using both in the assembly here. So we'll get the bigger ones on the outside, touching the O-ring, and then we have the smaller bearing, the smaller washer that's going to be touching the bearing race. So let's make it a little bit hard with these gloves I have. Okay, that shim's on there. Okay, that shim is on there. So all right, so that should be good. So same as the head, one of these races for the thrust bearings are going to be bigger than the other. Gosh, I'll just wipe my hands. These gloves are annoying. All right. So this rocks back and forth quite a bit. So that's the bigger side. Confirm. This barely even goes on. It's the tight side. And then a bearing in the middle. Okay. So the stack will look actually like that inside here with this washer. So this will be the order you're going to be putting it together. The washer, big race, inner race, the cage with the bearings, and then you got your smaller inner race, smaller diameter inner race. So the stack will go backwards, so go that, put the bearings on. Get a little dab of grease here, and we'll start working this grease in. All right. The outer race, or the inner race, that's the bigger inner diameter. And then we'll have our spacer here, or washer. And then we build the stack in here. Now that bearing's already pressed in here, that green bearing. These the radial bearings are already pressed in here with Loctite, so you don't have to do anything. Okay, I'm gonna stick all of this through here, make sure they all kind of just drop in place. Might get stuck with the grease, but you could just kind of use something to poke that down. Kind of break that down. All right. Make sure that they're nice and down on there. I'm just gonna leave this aside right now. What I want to do is I want to clean the end. So get the alcohol out. Okay, so I'm going to get my 1.5 and actually use that to clean the hole, clean the spindle. Okay, some alcohol, kind of get that tip to wrap around, the paper towel to wrap around the tip. We'll insert that in there and just kind of clean comes out, but there's definitely dirt and stuff coming out. Okay, yeah. Look at all that dirt. Okay, find another clean part of the alcohol wipe stuff, and I'm gonna go on the other side here and just do the same thing. Right, look at all that grease and dirt in there. None of it's blue, so I don't think it got any Loctite in, grease in there, but just the oils from when they make these parts. You want to get that oil out of the spindle. So I'll do this side one more time. So you see my spindle, it's not even, and that's okay. Once we start stacking everything in there, we'll make that even, but I'm gonna take advantage of this longer side right now to get my stack going. So just be mindful you have washers and shims in here. You don't want to drop them. The grease should help them, just keep them there. All right, so I'm just gonna line that up. I'm gonna do this so you can see it. Line that up, and I'm just gonna drop that into it. Okay, once that whole stack is in, I'll use this perpendicular to kind of help it through. And you can see we have the, I don't know if you can get in there, but we have that spindle sticking out just a tad. I'm gonna get that screw in there with the washer and the Loctite. Again, these screws you want to clean with alcohol as well. All right, and I'm gonna make sure there's a good thin coat of Loctite by rolling the tip and then rolling the Loctite and bolt along my finger like this. Hopefully it'll come out. So and wipe the excess off. You want to put a nice thin coat, but you don't want to glob so much on there that it gets into the thrust bearings. Okay, so I'm gonna screw that in, and then once that's screwed in all the way, I'll just push all the way in, and that'll make sure the spindle's sticking out all the way on the other side. Okay, I'll put this down. I'll build up the stack again. So let's double check which ones are which. Stick it in. This is loose. So it's the, and then this one should be the tight one. Yes. All right. So let's build that stack up. Tight, small, inner race, bearing, grease. All right. Put the other race on. Put your spacer, the washer, and we'll stick all of it through the blade grip, tail blade grips. Get it upside down and let the bearings all fall. Okay, take your tail assembly here. The 1.5s work well because they actually stick into the spindle, and then you can just kind of, let everything just drop into place here. Okay, and then start pulling this out. Go perpendicular right away so I can hold it. Now if you're pushing down, make sure you have this because the spindle is gonna come out actually. Hold on. Let's push this back here. Might be good to have the 2 mil on the other side here so it doesn't push the spindle out. Why isn't it sliding up? There we go. All right. Take your 2 mil, 2.5 mil bolt, washer, clean the bolt. Roll that tip in Loctite. And then I take that and roll it against my finger. Okay, it's hard to tell, but you can see the shine of the Loctite. Pretty much all of the threads, or 2/3 of threads. You can use red for this too. I've used red before. I'm following instructions and just using the blue that's recommended. But yeah, red also works. Okay, two opposing, squeeze together, and then twist. And I twist as hard as I can. Well, not as hard as I can. I don't want to break this, strip it out, but okay. And there we have it. Okay, one might feel tighter than the other side. That's just because the spindle is just not centered. What's going to happen is once this thing spins, it's going to pull centrifugal force, pull on both sides and even it out. So don't worry about that right now. Any lube or any grease that you have coming out the top, you can just kind of wipe down. It's okay if the grease is in there. It'll spin out most likely, and that's okay. All right, now that we have this part done, we're gonna get the balls on, and this is using blue Loctite. And these I'm just gonna glob Loctite on and just screw them in. You know, I don't mind if there's a lot of Loctite on there, and these never come out. Yeah, some people would definitely use red or even green on these. We'll go by the book on this. And there we have it. Tail pitch slider here. It does have a lot of little black plastic spacers, and it's hard on this surface, so I don't want to lose it. So first thing you want to do is you want to get the orientation of this. There's an S on one side, and then you want to get one of these plastic collars, spacers, and then just kind of snug them in on that small hole. Now with the pitch slider, you're going to have the right side with the S pointing up. I'm going to put green Loctite on the back side of the hole. Okay. I'm going to fish the screw through. Now it's a small little 1.5 that I just dropped. Okay, here's the next one. And kind of fish that through. Okay, so you have Loctite on this side. What I do is I screw the thing bolt in, it pushes some of that Loctite out, and then I go back out, which creates a little suction and pulls that Loctite into the hole, and then back in a couple times, and then I do a final torque down and wipe off the excess, and this should move freely. Do the same for the other side. I'm going to get my 1.5 and an M2 screw ready. I'm going to get the slider links and get the spacers put into the smaller hole. Okay, so we had the S up on the one side. So this is going to be opposite. You want the S to be pointed downwards. Okay. Put Loctite on the back of the screw hole. Put the screw through. Alright, and screw it in and out a couple times just to get that Loctite to seat into the threads and then back out. And just long, you know, do it once or twice and just to make sure. Then give it a nice snug and wipe off the excess. Okay. And these should move rarely, you know, should be completely free to move. Like they should just drop on their own. Okay. We'll now slide this whole assembly together. Okay, I'm gonna slide it up, get one link on. Okay, you can pop it in with your hand, and you'll see the S is sticking on the outside of the screw hole. The other side should be the same. So this, you're gonna, at this point it's gonna be somewhat lined up, so you have to kind of just bend it a little, like bend the plastic link, get it in place, and then pop it on. Okay, this should move freely. Should be no binding. Okay, should be able to just spin this along your finger. Everything should be very free and easy to move. You can put a little bit of grease here. Tri-Flow works well. Dry lube. Okay,